Yeah, it's interesting because kind of like what we were talking about earlier, the lady, Jackie Earle Haley, and then you have Ted Devine come in, or yeah, Ted Devine, and he kind of reaffirms like, or can your violence overcome my violence?
Oh yeah, that was one of the best lines in the movie,
and he delivers it so well too, Ted Devine.
And then also like right before he lets DiCaprio out of the Jeep, he's like, "If I sunk my teeth into you, would you be able to kill me before you went blind?" Or I can't remember
or whatever
exactly
he
how
says,
it goes,
yeah.
but
yeah, he's like, "Do you think you can kill me before
something
Yeah.
before I blind you or
It's
something like that?"
And then I can't. What does he say? He says, it's really poignant what DiCaprio responds with. He says something like, "Yeah, I could."
Well, he says, "Try it."
Oh, he says, "Try it." Yeah, and then
yeah,
and then he gets out of the
Ted
Jeep.
Devine's is like,
Like,
"Oh, there we go. That's what I was talking about."
And like you have these characters reaffirming that he's not crazy, which I think is perfectly set up from the writing of this movie or the novel even, and because you believe the whole time, like I believed till the very very end that he wasn't crazy, that it wasn't an inmate. This was actually all true. What we are seeing from his perspective, it's all true. But I think that's a trick the writers are using to say like, no. This is like, we're going to plant this stuff here so that you think, so that we're left at the very, very end even to say like, but what if, what if?
Yeah,
what if he's not crazy?
The really interesting part too is when you first see all the fantastical elements, like the weird cuts and the dream sequences and the hallucinations, you're like, is DiCaprio crazy?
Mm-hmm.
It's like he could be, he could not be. And then all of a sudden you get the reveal in the cave with the real escape patient who used to be a doctor. But then they branded her as crazy and turned her into an inmate when she started asking too many questions about the place. And she like basically affirms that no, he's not crazy because she's like, you had any like, shakes, any like weird dreams? You've eaten the food here? Tell me at least you smoked your own cigarettes. And it calls back to where, the orderly guy's like, "Oh, too bad your cigarettes were just,
drenched.
Completely drenched." But he puts a fresh pack on top of their clothes. "But don't worry, I got you.
I got some Lucky Strikes for you,
Yeah.
But it's that's the only thing I will say is that lady in the cave, I'm going to assume she's a setup, kind of like the whole island has been a setup for Leo. But what if she isn't? What if she's actually a patient? Or that was a patient that also was a doctor at some point? Like, I'm going to assume she's a plant, but what if she wasn't? What does your assessment say?
My theory is that she was a hallucination.
Ooh, okay.
Because you get the reveal in the cave right after one, Mark Ruffalo just completely disappears, and then Leo freaks out and thinks he sees Mark Ruffalo's dead body on the rocks below, and he gets there and it's like,
by the way, he free climbs down that whole face of cliffs, and I'm like, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I believe everything in this film except for that thing.
That's really interesting too, because that plays into the whole.
Oh, like it was a hallucination.
That plays into the whole like delusional element of it too. Like the whole thing could have been an delusion, or it could have also been the idea that he was so crazy that like something that no sane person would try or even have the stamina to do, he was able to do just because of how insane he was.
How insane it was, yeah.
But I kind of lean towards the whole thing was just kind of like a hallucination. Yeah,
and I think it'd be interesting, even if you haven't watched this film and you're listening to the spoiler discussion that we're saying, I would just still recommend watch the film because with this knowledge that you have obtained here, if you haven't watched it yet, go into it and put it on and try to analyze it. Like, is he actually this way? Is he not? Is the island playing tricks on him? Is he? What is he? Is this his descent into madness, or is this he's already descended into?
Yeah,
it, you know.
And even though the conclusion is pretty clear,
It's pretty clear, yeah.
But it leaves
enough.
It leaves enough doubt where even knowing the ending, it's very interesting to go into it and with that sort of nugget of doubt, try to analyze all the different things that are happening and try and see if you can come to your own conclusion about it.
Yeah. And I just want to talk about the last